Ladies, gentlemen, distinguished guests, my brethren-all, thank you for attending the 100th installation of officers for Sugar Land Masonic Lodge number 1141. We welcome you here on this auspicious occasion. My name is Aaron Wayne Tyksinski. I am a past master of this lodge in 2016-2017, and I will be the installing officer. Brother past master C.D. Siems will be the installing marshal. We will get right into the roll call, and then I will give you some information on what will happen here today. Brother Marshal, you will present the officers to be installed.
Worshipful Master, Gavin Michael Swinney. Junior Warden, Christopher Choate. I want to say Christopher, Chris, I'm sorry about that. Secretary, David Burnt. Chaplain, Everett Hyde. Junior Deacon, Matthew Woodard. Senior Steward, Oscar Ochoa. Junior Steward, Thad Olive. Marshal, Randy Whitaker. Tyler, Joseph Herford.
Thank you, Brother Marshal. We will start off with the invocation, which will be given by Dennis Ethan Woodard, the Master Counselor for Imperial Chapter of the Order of D. Malay. The floor is yours, sir.
Dear God, we thank you for this time we get to spend together in person during this pandemic, and we hope for many more. Lord, keep us safe and watch over us for the days to come. Lord, bless these officers in the coming Masonic year, and Lord, give wisdom to Dad Sweeney to lead and guide the lodge this year. In your name we pray. Amen.
So be it.
Thank you. If y'all will please rise. We will now have the pledge to the United States flag and the pledge of the Texas flag. The U.S. flag will be by Dennis Woodard, Master Counselor of Imperial Chapter, Order of D. Malay.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We will now have the pledge to the Texas flag by Quinlan S. Cockcroft.
Please join me in honoring the Texas flag.
On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one
Thank you. You may be seated. For many of you, this is the first time in a Masonic lodge. Outside the normal furniture that you see here, there are several things that have significant meaning to the Masons here assembled. The most important of which is the open Bible on the altar. The open Bible is what gives the Worshipful Master the light which comes down from God through the Holy Scriptures here to the east so that he can govern the lodge. You're going to hear titles today such as Worshipful Master, Right Worshipful Sir, Wardens, Brethren, Deacons. These are not meant to be religious by any means, but are indications of high offices within the lodge in the Grand Lodge of Texas. You see that there's one person who is wearing a hat, and that is the presiding officer over the lodge at that particular time. It's not so much important that he is the one wearing the hat as it is that no one else is wearing theirs. It is a symbol of authority as well as the gavel. Both of these will be presented to the Worshipful Master later this evening. Every year, Masonic lodges take the opportunity to hold an auspicious occasion to install the new officers. Lodge officers are installed in June or July and go through the following June or July of the ensuing year. Once the Master has completed his term in the East, he is therefore given the title of Past Master, which he retains for the rest of his Masonic endeavors. Brother Marshal, you will present the officers to be installed.
The officers to be installed will please rise. Right Worshipful Sir, I present the officers of Sugar Land Lodge number 1141 for installation. I believe each of them to be well qualified to discharge the duties of his office, and each has signified his willingness to accept the same. I therefore ask that they be duly and constitutionally installed in their respective offices.
Thank you, Brother Marshal. You will present the Worshipful Master-elect for installation. The remaining officers may be seated. It's good to see you up there. Worshipful Sir and Brother, I take pleasure in installing you into this honorable office with the usual ceremonies. But previous to being invested with the insignia of your office, it is necessary that you should signify your assent to these ancient charges and regulations which point out the duty of the Master of the Lodge. Now, there's 15 of these, so just hold your answer. You might want to consider them before answering. 1. You agree to be a good man and true and strictly obey the moral law. 2. You agree to be a peaceful citizen and cheerfully conform to the laws of the country in which you reside. 3. You promise not to be concerned in plots or conspiracies against the government, but patiently to submit to the decisions of the Supreme Legislature. You agree to pay proper respect to the civil magistrates, to work diligently, live credibly, and to act honorably by all men. You agree to hold in veneration the original rulers and patrons of the Order of Masonry and their regular successors, supreme and subordinate, according to their stations, and to submit to the awards and resolutions of your brethren when convenient, and in every consistency with the constitutions of the order. You agree to avoid private picks or quarrels, and to guard against the intemperance and excess. You agree to be cautious in carriage and behavior, courteous to your brethren, and faithful to your lodge. You promise to respect genuine brethren and to discountenance impostors, to all dissenters from the original plan of Masonry. You agree to promote the general good of society, to cultivate the social virtues, and to propagate the knowledge of the art. You promise to pay homage to the Grand Master for the time being, and to his officers when duly installed, and strictly to conform to every edict of the Grand Lodge or General Assembly of Masons that is not subversive to the principles and groundwork of Masonry. You admit that it is not in the power of any man or any body of men to make innovations in the body of Masonry. You promise a regular attendance on the committees and communications of the Grand Lodge on receiving proper notice, and to pay attention to all of the duties of Masonry on convenient occasions. You admit that there are no new lodge shall be formed without the permission of the Grand Lodge, and that no countenance be given to any irregular lodge or to any person clandestinely initiated therein, being contrary to the ancient charters of the order. You admit that no person can be irregularly made a Mason in or admitted a member of a regular lodge without previous notice and due inquiry into his character. You agree that no visitors shall be received into your lodge without due examination and producing proper vouchers of having been initiated in a regular lodge. These are the regulations of free and accepted Masons. Do you submit to these charges and promise to support these regulations as masters have done in all ages before?
I do.
Brother Swinney, in consequence of your cheerful conformity to the charges and regulations of the order, you are now to be installed as master of this lodge, in full confidence of your care, skill, and capacity to govern the same. Brother Marshal, you will invest the Worshipful Master with the insignia of his office, which is the square. The various implements of the profession are emblematic of our conduct in life, and upon this occasion are carefully enumerated the Holy Writings. That great light in Masonry will guide you to all truth. It will direct your path to the temple of happiness and point out to you the whole duty of man. The square teaches us to limit our desires in every station, rising to that eminence by merit, that we may live respected and die regretted. The compasses teach us to limit our desires in every station, that rising to eminence and by merit, we conduct the principles of morality and virtue. The rule directs that we shall punctually observe our duty, press forward in the path of virtue, and neither inclining to the right nor the left in all of our actions have eternity in view. The line teaches us that criterion of moral rectitude to avoid dissimulation in conversation or action, and to direct our steps to the path which lead us to immortality. The Book of Constitutions. You are to search at all times. Cause it to be read in your lodge, that none may pretend to ignorance of the excellent precepts it enjoins. You now receive in your charge the charter, by the authority of which this lodge is held. You are carefully to preserve and duly transmit to your successor in office. Lastly, you receive in charge the bylaws. The bylaws of your lodge, which you are to see are carefully and punctually executed. Brother Marshal, you will seek the Worshipful Master and present the junior one elected for installation. Brother Marshal, you will invest the junior warden with the insignia of his office, which is the plum. Brother Choker, the plum admonishes us to walk uprightly in our several stations before God and man, to hold the scale of justice in equal poles, to observe the just medium between intemperance and pleasure, and to make our passions and prejudices coincide with the line of our duty. To you is committed the superintendence of the craft during the hours of refreshment. It is therefore indispensably necessary that you should not only be temperate and discreet in the indulgence of your own inclinations, but carefully observe that none of the craft are to be suffered or convent to the means of refreshment, of intemperance and excess. Brother Marshal, you will seek the junior warden and present the secretary-elect for installation. Brother Marshal, you will invest the secretary with the insignia of his office, which is the cross quills. Past Master Berman, it is your duty to carefully observe all the proceedings of the lodge, make a correct record of all things proper to be written, to receive all monies due the lodge, and pay them over to the treasurer, taking his receipt for the same. I trust that your good wishes for the welfare of this lodge will prompt you to discharge your duties in your office with fidelity, and by doing so, you will merit the esteem and applause of your brethren. Brother Marshal, you will seat the secretary and present the chaplain for installation. Brother Marshal, you will invest the chaplain with the insignia of his office, which is the open ball. Past Master Hinote, it is your duty to perform those solemn occasions which we should constantly render to our Creator, and which, when offered by one whose example is to point to the heaven and lead the way, may, by refining our souls, strengthening our virtues, and purifying our minds, prepare us for admission into the society of those above, where happiness will be as endless as it is perfect. Brother Marshal, you will seek the chaplain and present the deacons for installation. Brother Marshal, you will invest the junior deacon with the badge of his office, which is the square and compass. Brother Woodard, it is your province to attend the masters and the wardens, and to act as their proxies in the active duties of the lodge, such as the reception of candidates into the different degrees of Masonry, the introduction and accommodation of visitors, and the immediate practice of all rites. The square encompasses as the badge of your office I entrust to your care, not doubting your vigilance and attention. Brother Marshal, you will seat the junior deacon and present the senior and junior stewards for installation. Brother Marshal, you will invest the stewards with the insignia of their office, which is the cornucopia, or horn of plenty. Brothers Ochoa and Oliver, as masters of the ceremonies, it is your duty to assist the deacons and the other officers in the performance of their respective duties, and to see that the tables are properly furnished at refreshment, and the brethren are suitably provided for. Your regular and early attendance will afford the best proof of your zeal and attachment to the lodge. Brother Marshal, you will seat the stewards and present the Marshal for installation. Brother Marshal, you will invest the Marshal with the insignia of his office, which is the cross baton. Past Master Whitaker, it is your duty to assist the senior deacon in preparing the candidates for initiation, and to see that the needs of the candidate are provided for, such as the candidate information program, ritualistic instruction, Masonic education, and information concerning the customs and usages of Masonry. Brother Marshal, you will seat the Marshal and present the title for installation. Brother Marshal, you will invest the Tyler with the insignia of his office, which is the sword. Brother Herford, I present to you with the implement of your office, as the sword is placed in the hands of the Tyler, to enable him to guard against the approach of cowards and eavesdroppers, and to permit none to pass except those who are duly qualified. So it should admonish us to set up a guard over our thoughts, a watch at our lips, post a sentinel over our actions, thereby preventing the approach of every unworthy thought and deed, thus preventing the consequences void of offense towards God and man. Brother Marshal, you will seat the Tyler and present the Worshipful Master for the charge. Worshipful, sir, and brother. To your care is committed the charter of this lodge and the government of the brethren who compose the same and are within the jurisdiction of said lodge. You cannot be insensible of the obligations which devolve on your use of their head, nor the responsibility for the faithful discharge of the important duties annexed to said station. The honor, reputation, and usefulness of your lodge will materially depend on the skill with which you manage its concerns, while the happiness of its lodge will generally be promoted in proportion to the zeal and ability with which you propagate the genuine principles of our institution. For a pattern of imitation, consider the great luminary of nature, which rising in the east regularly diffuses light and luster to all within its circle. In a like manner, it is your province to spread and communicate the light of instruction to the brethren of your lodge. Forcibly impress upon them the dignity of high importance of Masonry, and seriously admonish them never to disgrace it. Charge them to be amiable and discreet and virtuous conduct to convince mankind of the goodness of the institution, so that when one person is said to be a member of it, the world may know that he is one to whom the burdened heart may pour out its sorrows, to whom the distressed may prefer its suit, whose hands is guided by justice, and whose heart is expanded by benevolence. In short, by diligent observance of the bylaws of your lodge, the Constitution of Masonry, and above all, the Holy Scriptures, with given a rule and guide to your faith, you will be enabled to acquit yourself with the honor and reputation, and lay upon a crown of rejoicing, which shall continue when time shall be no more. Brother Marshal, you will sit the worshipful master in the east and present the wardens for the charge. Choke. You are too well acquainted with the principles of Masonry to warrant any distrust that you may be found waiting in the discharge of your respective duty. Suffice it to say that what you have seen praiseworthy in others, you should carefully imitate. And what in them may have appeared to be defective, you should yourselves in them. You should be good examples of the good of the order and regularity, for it's only by due regard to the laws in your own conduct that you can expect obedience from others. You are to assist the worshipful master in the discharge of his trust, diffusing light and imparting knowledge to all whom shall place under your care. In the absence of the master, you will succeed to higher duties. Your requirements must, therefore, be as such that the craft may never suffer for the want of proper instruction. From the spirit with which you have hereto been convinced, I entertain no doubt that your future conduct will be such to merit the applause of your brethren and the testimony of good conscience. Brother Marshal, you will seat the junior warden in his station. The members of Sugarland Lodge number 1141 will rise. Brethren, such is the nature of our Constitution that some must, out of necessity, rule and teach, while others must, of course, learn to submit and obey. Humility in both is an essential duty. The officers who are elected and appointed to govern your lodge are sufficiently conversant with the rules and propriety of the laws of the Masonic order to avoid exceeding these powers with which they are entrusted, and you of too generous dispositions to envy their preferment. I therefore trust that you will have but one aim, and that will be to try to please each other and unite in the grand design of being happy and communicating happiness. Finally, my brethren, as the business of this lodge has been conducted in peace and harmony, so may it long continue. May you and your associates long enjoy every satisfaction and delight with disinterested friendship can afford. May kindness and brotherly affection distinguish your conduct as men and as Masons. Within your peaceful walls, may your children's children celebrate with joy and gratitude the annual reoccurrence of this auspicious solemnity. And may the tenets of our profession be transmitted through your lodge, pure and unimpaired, from generation to generation. Brother Marshal, you will proclaim the installation. The audience will please rise.
In the name and by the authority of the most worshipful Grand Lodge of Texas, I proclaim the officers of Sugar Land Lodge number 1141, ancient, free, and sacred Masons, duly and constitutionally installed.
You may be seated. Worshipful Master Sir, it's time for me to vacate your station and go away. I believe that your family has a presentation for you, which is required in the performance of your duties. Wow, buddy.
I got a special gift that was given.
That's going to help you along. I know. Sir, I take mine off and you put yours on. And before you can start, I need to present you the gavel. Not that one, this one. I think you'll find more use out of this one than you will that. So I wish you the best of luck in your year. I wish you and your officers and Sugar Land Lodge a great year in 2020, 2021, and I look forward to the 100th anniversary of the raising of this lodge on December 10th, 1920, which I believe we will celebrate on 14 November. So I wish you the best of luck, my friend. Good luck. Appreciate it.
Thank y'all. Appreciate it. It's been a long time coming. Before I get into my remarks and thank yous and whatnot, I would like to have the officers who are present to please stand up and introduce themselves. If they have anybody here, say who's here and maybe give a little bit of remarks. We'll start off with our brother Tyler. Julian.
Joseph Hereford, family I've got here in my building, so glad to serve. Thank you for appointing me in this position. Worshipful Master.
Junior Deacon Matt.
Thank you, Worshipful Master. Worshipful Master, I worship, serve, word of brother. I have my son with me who serves as Master Counselor, the Imperial Chapter Order of King Life here. He was funded by Sugar Land. Thank you, Worshipful Master, so I understand.
Brother Junior Stewart. Paul.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm all downtown to get my true Masonic journey started. Looking forward to the campus for which I work.
abroad, it's really nice to still have some semblance, just togetherness. And I appreciate everyone that is here. Thank you.
Brother Marshal, past master member.
Worship Master, enjoyed seeing you. Main labor, past master lodge, do good work and serve under serve. And, this family is scattered out around the countryside, so it's just came right now. And, always been a pleasure to be a member of this lodge.
Brother Secretary, past master member.
Thank you, Worship Master. Flying solo today. Enjoy the hot seat. The half lays a lot. You're gonna find that out.
Brother Chaplain, past master member Hyden, City Youth Alliance.
Thank you, Worshipful Master. Worship Master, Sir Lord Brother. No one here with me here today except for my brother, my sister Jeannie, my other family, the Sweeneys, and all my brothers here as well. Brother Lasso, it's good to see you.
Sir.
And for last, before myself, Brother Junior Ward, Chris Chip.
Worshipful Master Swinney, it's a privilege to be a part of your team for this upcoming Masonic year. My wife and my daughter were here earlier. I think we've traumatized Tabitha, so Rebecca took Tabitha to the house, so it's an honor and a privilege to be here today, especially under the circumstances. So we've got a big year planned, and I'm looking forward to being a part of it and doing whatever I can to help advance the year and advance the vision of this lodge.
All right. Well, I'm stepping up for a second. I'll have my speech down here. Mine's going to be a little bit longer. Sorry. I have a lot to say. Start off with saying, right worshipful sir, wardens, brethren, distinguished guests, family and friends, I would like to thank you all for making it to the 100th annual installation of Officers of Sugar Land Masonic Lodge, number 1141. The officers and I are greatly honored for all of you to be present in the current situation we find ourselves with the events around the world. One of the goals of our craft and fraternity is to make good men better. I think and believe Sugar Land Lodge has been a shining example of that in the past 100 years. Some of you might not know that Sugar Land Lodge was chartered on December 10th, 1920 by the Grand Lodge of Texas. The building you're currently sitting in was erected in the 1970s, but the land the building is on was given to the lodge by the Imperial Sugar Factory from its beginning. The brethren in the early years of our lodge met in one of the storage buildings of the Imperial Sugar Factory, which most of the brothers at the time worked for the company. Sadly, the storage building no longer there. We celebrate a great feat this year because turning 100 years old in a world that most people get self-gratification from things instantly, it's hard to stay afloat. The reason why we have been around still in an organization, as an organization, is the backbone of our fraternity, which is the brethren. Here are some little fun facts. The following are also a few things celebrating 100 years this year besides our lodge. The invention of the Band-Aid, adhesive Band-Aid. The first radio station, KDKA, in Pittsburgh. Women's right to vote in the U.S. The National Football League was founded in Canton, Ohio on September 17th, 1920, but was originally called the American Professional Football Association, APFA, and I believe after 2 years named it the National Football League. The Baby Ruth Candy Bar, the first tricolor four-way traffic light, Jungle Gyms, the Good Humor Ice Cream Bar, and the airline KLM's first passenger aircraft took flight. All of these things were something that made lasting changes. And I feel Sugar Land Masons have made lasting changes with the brotherhood, charity, and fellowship we have. As this year continues as a lodge, we will be creating lasting memories with the development of a new Lodge Centennial logo, which most of you can see on the program. This logo was an effort by the membership of this lodge. We hope you all will help join us in celebrating the wonderful 100 years of our lodge and more with the exciting events we have planned. This Masonic year, we will be celebration of our fraternity, our brethren, past and present, and the lodge as a whole as we turn a new chapter here at the lodge. Just like the lodge, I'm also starting a new chapter in my Masonic career. To become Worshipful Master of the Lodge means the brethren have a deep respect for you as a Mason and trust the leadership of the lodge to you. I'm humbled and greatly honored for being elected and installed as Worshipful Master of this lodge. But I am more amazed and thankful that it's happening on the 100th year. I will say I'm not perfect, just ask my lovely wife and family. But I can tell you I will do my best and make sure this year's officers shine, just to try to prove the ounce of leadership and more from the Worshipful Masters that came before me. This will help ensure we will still have a lodge to enjoy for another 100 years and more. I want to give a special thank you, Right Worshipful Dr. Aaron Wayne Tyksinski, for being the one to give me this opportunity. When he set me up to move through the chairs to be here currently, for some of you do not know, there is somewhat of a tradition that starts 5 years before you become Worshipful Master of the Lodge. It's about gaining the experience by moving through various officer chairs before you make it to Worshipful Master. From this, you learn and understand how a lodge operates, and it does train you for the position of Worshipful Master. The second reason I want to thank you, Right Worshipful, is for gracing me with the honor of being my installing officer for this installation. And thirdly, I want to say thank you for being an amazing embodiment of Masonry, a great brother, and truly a great friend. I want to say thank you to Past Master C.D. Siems for being my installing Marshal. I also being an example of what a Mason should be. I thank you for your guidance, advice, your fellowship, and your friendship, brother. It means a lot, and I'm glad to call you my brother. I want to say thank you to Past Master Secretary David Byrne, because with your guidance, advice, words of wisdom, and outright help allows this lodge to run effectively. Some might not know, but a lodge without a secretary is not a lodge at all. So thank you for all your countless hours and hard work you put into the position. I seriously could not do this without you. All right. I want to say thank you to our chaplain, now Junior Past Master Everett Hino, because this journey in Masonry started with him. And one night in 2008, we started discussing Masonry. We both decided to make it up to Sugar Land Lodge. We went through the degrees together, and now the officers' chairs together. And I mean, our membership ID numbers for Masonry are seriously sequentially next to each other. You are my best man in Jeannie and I's wedding. You're an uncle to our son Porter. And I'm truly thankful you are my brother and friend. I too would not be here if it wasn't for you. Thank you for the year you set last year, and thank you for being my chaplain. I'm glad and honored you will be sitting next to me up there. I want to thank all the officers for being a part of this wonderful Masonic year. I want to thank the officers' families again for being here and allowing these good men to make this fraternity what it's meant to be. I want to thank my parents for raising me to grow up and take on this role. I'm an Eagle Scout, and now I get to show my leadership skills off again in another organization I enjoy. I want to say it wasn't until I got into Masonry that my grandmother Pat came to me one Thanksgiving and provided me with the Masonic ring I'm currently wearing, and told me it was my great-grandfather's ring. I was shocked until at that point in time I never knew anyone in my family to be a Mason. She also at the same time informed me she was a Job's daughter, the Young Women's Auxiliary of Masonry, and told me my father, Mike Swinney, was in DMLA. Little selfless promotion here, but the young men that did our invocation and pledges are DMLAs of the Imperial chapter that meets here. I'm an advisor of our chapter because of what my grandmother told me about my father being in it. Also, if you know of any young men between the ages of 12 and 21 that would like to join an organization that teaches them leadership and much more skills, please have them come up and join the Imperial chapter. These young men do a wonderful job of running the chapter, and all of us advisors, some of who are present today, just provide our guidance. I want to say thank you to my brother Lance, Ethan, and Lorraine for making it out tonight. I want to say thank you to my son Porter for his joyful smile and playfulness. I just enjoy hearing him every day call me Daddy. It makes the day better. I hope one day, when he's of age, I could be there when he asks the question, how do I become a Mason? Sorry. And of course, the final thank you goes to my lovely, amazing best friend, and ultimate human/genius wife, Jean. Thank you for allowing me to continue in Masonry. I want to say thank you because I would seriously not be here today if it wasn't for her. It was because of dating my wife I met past Master Heidrich, which resulted to where we're here today. Your patience with me and knowledge, and knowing that this is something I enjoy doing, is the most wonderful thing I could ever ask to be thankful for. Thank you and love you. In closing, thank you all, and let us have a wonderful Masonic year, the 2020-2021 year. Thank you. It's about time we have a little gift to give. Junior Past Master Heino, would you meet me, the Brother Secretary behind the altar? A little uncovering, sorry. Okay. Some of these things down here. All right. All of us officers got together for this past year and wants to present you with the various items that we have here. First of all, your past master's jewel, as you can see with your name already engraved and year and date. Certification of appreciation. Your very own. Like to see. Yours. Flip it up to, I believe. This is also yours. Put it back in there.
Not allowed to wear it here.
Fortunately, you're not allowed to have certain beverages here in the lodge, but you can outside.
Kool-Aid.
And all of us officers also got together, gave you a card. The floor is yours to say what you would like and meet me back in the east afterwards.
I addressed the lodge in the newsletter last week with a few words, saying thank you to everyone. This year it was, but it wasn't quick, and we had all this happen, and I was talking with some other worship masters from around the area, and we felt useless for a little while for obvious reasons, but we tried still to do some stuff, and we're here now. And I'm just happy that I was able to keep the lodge going for 1 year. Because I know what an incredible job both you, Worshipful Master, and you, Right Worshipful Sir, we all have up ahead for the centennial. I'm just happy to be a part of the journey. The experiences are one thing that I love in life. It was an incredible experience being, Master of the Lodge for a year. And I was just happy to keep it going. Thank you all. Officers from last year, thank you. Everyone here, I know all of you, thank you very much for all that you've said, all that you've taught me over the years. It's been an incredible journey, and I'm ready for more. I'm ready to serve in whatever way I can. Thank you, Worshipful Master.
All right, before we take the benediction and close this thing out, I do want to let the officers know, please, after we finish, please come up. We'll take a few photos afterwards, just so that we can get that up on the website. Please give the benediction. All right. Maybe I should do this. Please.
All right, everyone, please bow your heads with me in prayer. Almighty, great architect of the universe, thank you for allowing us to gather today for this awesome and fantastic installation of officers. We pray for your guidance this year in our centennial, that we move forward with all the blessing that you can bestow upon us this year. Pray for all the wisdom that you can give us, all the instruction you can give us, and everything that you can give us to make it the best year that we can. And now, Lord, as we go forward, please bless us, bless our military, bless our first responders, bless our medical community, bless everyone that is just trying in this hard and difficult time right now. We pray for your mercy, that we just continue on doing what we can, everything in your name, Lord God. All this we ask in the Grand Architect's name. Amen.
So will it be.